What up, guys? Today, again, this is your boy Joshua Saki. We're going to do another episode of Goosebumps and talk about Goosebumps. And for my video today, it'll be more about my favorite Goosebumps of mine. So, I remembered a couple of them. My other favorites were Stay Out of the Basement, and if you free users that don't know what that's about, it's about a brother and sister whose dad is a botanist, and he got fired from his job at a university, or I think it was the university or a laboratory. I don't know which one. Which of the two. And he's been working on projects in the basement for very long. And one of the rules in their house when he was fired was never to go into the basement. And then their dad started to act really weird. Like he's starting to eat dirt, and like has a bed full of worms. And it turns out that their real dad's been locked in the basement the entire time. And what happened? The dad that they've been living with for the past few weeks is actually a clone of himself that he made and was trying to turn the entire family into clones and then lock them up in the basement. Which I found it was a very good. I liked the episode a lot. I loved it, actually. So, one of my other favorite episodes was called The Cuckoo Clock of Doom. Also, is my favorite book. Now, this episode, I really did not like the little girl in the episode. I'm sorry. The girl was a bitch. She was a total bitch to her brother for no reason. Just because she would piss him off. Like, play pranks on him. Like, squirt ketchup all over in his face, then cry about it, saying, "Oh, mom, Joe, whatever his name won't leave me, was scaring me." And I'm like, if I was that kid, I was a bitch. You're the one who tried to scare me, and and ruin my face with all ketchup and shit. What are you crying about? If anyone should be crying here and saying that someone won't leave me alone, it's me. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, this girl should get something to her at the end of the story. Please let her get something bad happen to her at the end of the story. And realize bad shit happens to people who are jerks and assholes and everything like that. And then not only that, she blatantly told a girl that her brother liked her on his birthday. Like she said, his girl that he gave him a CD, and he says, "Oh, thanks, I don't have this one." And he says, "Yes, you do. You thought it was lame and you threw it out, but you like it now because you love her." And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? There's one rule everybody knows: is not to embarrass somebody on their freaking birthday or at their birthday party. And what you just did was broke that rule. Why the hell? If it were me, and I was this kid, I would have been like, bitch, I would have beat the shit out of you right there and then. I would beat I don't care who sees. I would beat the shit. Listen to me. I don't like being embarrassed. I'll tell you the people right now, I don't like being embarrassed. And if you embarrass me, and if it's at a function that I'm throwing or my parents are throwing, okay, and you tried to embarrass me, and you did something like that to me, I'd beat the shit out of your ass. I would. I wouldn't care. You could sue me. You could do whatever you want. I'd beat the shit out of your ass. And I would do that the same to the little girl. I wouldn't care. You don't do that to somebody on their birthday. You just don't. Not only that, when her mother's bringing out the cake, she purposely trips her mother or her brother, and he lands face first into his own cake. What the fuck? I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck? This little girl's a bitch. Why the hell would you do that? You know what I would have done then? I'm being serious, and I've done this to people before. I've done this to one of my friends before, or one of my little brother too, when he was pissing me off one of these days. For all you don't know, I have anger management problems. I really do. I've had it since I was around 10 or 11. No, around 6 or 7. But one day my brother was just pissing me off so much, poking me in the back, and wouldn't leave me alone, okay? And I got to the boiling point where I couldn't take it anymore. I told him to stop it nicely, like 4 times. And if, sorry to people out there, but if you're so thick and stupid in your head that someone tells you to stop 4 times and you still don't stop, I mean, usually it should only take someone to tell you to stop once and you should stop. But I was being nice and I told my brother 4 times. Usually I only say it twice. If you don't do it by the third, if you don't stop on the 3rd try, either shit's gonna get real or you're gonna be running upstairs to run away. So I grabbed my brother, says, "You wanna poke somebody? Here, poke this." I grabbed his head, and I used to have a small bench in my room because I used to sit there when I was playing my GameCube in the head of my room. Grabbed his head and smashed his head 2 times on his face against the bench. And his nose was bleeding and he started crying. And I got in trouble for it. Now, I got in trouble for it, and I probably shouldn't have done it because we were having a family reunion downstairs. Oh, not a family reunion, but like a family brunch. But be honest with you guys, I asked him, I say like 4 to 5 times. I wasn't even having a having a good morning either. Like, he knew I was already pissed about something. He just don't want, and I told him 4 freaking times to leave me alone. But he didn't listen, and he kept doing it, and kept poking me, and kept prodding at me, and making the rage boil up to a point where, you know what? I said, fuck it. You don't want to learn to listen for someone for 4 times to leave you alone, to once or 4 times to leave someone alone, you're going to pay the price. And he did. So did I. But I didn't get any beating. I didn't get smacked or anything. I just got into a timeout and grounded for the rest of the day. For any of you who don't know, my groundings never really lasted very long in my family. I think the longest ground I've ever had was a week or 2. I think my longest ground was either 2 weeks. That was my longest ground I've ever had in my life. 2 weeks. I never tried to push it for a month. Never wanted to have a month of grounding because that's just pointless, and why would you want to do that? Anyways, for me, the story goes that his parents bring home a clock that has magical powers and says it can control time, okay? So he finds out that he saw his sister, or overheard his father yelling at his sister saying, "If you touch that clock again, you'll be in so much trouble, you won't even want to know what will happen." So he gets the idea. He's going to get back at his sister for all the years he tortured her by touching the clock, okay? And since he never touched the clock, so his dad would never suspect him, he would, and this kid's older, by the way, she will get in trouble for it and get in trouble, and maybe and then he'll tell her, who actually broke the clock, and tell her that next time you want to bother me, remember, I can do a lot more. I can get you in trouble too from now on. So what happens is he accidentally does something stupid, and he starts to de-age. So what it means, how I explain it is, when he wakes up the next morning, it's his birthday again, his 12th birthday. Well, he already had his 12th birthday, and that was 2 days ago. So everything plays out the same. Then he goes back to bed, and he's 7 years old. 7 freaking years old. Okay? Then he goes back to bed, and he's a freaking baby. And he realizes he has to do something. Go to the clock. It's an antique store, and turn the bird that he broke. He basically snapped the bird's neck or head to a different angle, and he has to turn that bird back to go back to normal. So he gets his parents to bring his baby self to the antique store, where then he climbs out of his stroller, climbs up a bunch of things, and when he's trying to do something, he knocks something over, and there's end of date things like 1996, 86, 76, like that on the clock, and it hits out 95, I believe, or 94. I think it hit 94 out. And he's able, just before the caretaker of the store said, "Stop that baby," and the cuckoo bird comes out. He breaks it, and he goes back to normal. And then he wakes up the next morning, and it's not his birthday or something like that. But he says he's talking to his father, and he says, "Oh, it's lunchtime. Oh, or dinner time. Whatever. I forgot what it was. Oh, I'll go get." He says his sister's name, and they look at him like he's crazy. And he says, "Oh, who are you talking about? You have a new friend?" "No, I'm talking about my sister," or whatever her name is. Says, "You don't have a sister. You're the only child." And when he realizes is when he knocked over that item and hit a date, it hit the date that his sister was born, the year his sister was born. So in fact, he changed technically changed time and space by knocking out the date his sister was born. His sister was never born. And then the end of the story is he's basically thinking in his head, I'll go back eventually one of these, says I'll recorrect it, but not today, and I'll do it eventually, but maybe she deserves a time. I'm thinking in my head, it would have been a lot cooler to say maybe she deserves a timeout of history for a little bit. Maybe think on how she should act and treat people before she does. I would have went back and gone and think, Ingrid, I probably would have went back and done anything at all. Because you know what? The girl put me through so much hell, who cares anymore? She's a bitch. She deserves what she got. And that's one of my favorite episodes. One of my favorite episodes of all time. Because it showed you this bitch got what she deserved. I mean, she got what she deserved at the end. And I was hoping she got what she deserved at the end. I really was. I like Night in the Terror Tower, which is a great episode for me. What else did I like for episodes? I liked an episode called Click, which is basically about a remote control that controls the entire universe. But it comes with a warning label: don't treat it don't abuse the power. And this kid abuses it and abuses it and abuses it until I guess he learns he gets sucked into the clicker itself, basically, like into a void. And he's basically, his punishment is to wait there for eternity until someone else abuses the power of the clicker, and then he gets transported back to the real world, and that person is now imprisoned. It's a pretty cool episode. Actually, it was one of my brother's favorites. Another favorite of mine was One Day at Horrorland. Now, this one's like one of those it's called like Inception Dream, where it's a dream inside of a dream, but it's not dreams. You know what I mean? It's basically about a guy who, it's basically about kids going to Busch Gardens, the amusement park, but instead going to this place called Horrorland, which is all horror themed, and realize that that people are dying, or families are going into this one building and are never coming out, and they're hearing screams and stuff. And it turns out in the end of the show, it's just a entire game show meant for monsters. And it's a hilarious thing. It was a good ending too. One of my other favorite episodes would have to be I forgot what it was called. Oh yeah, Don't Go to Sleep. Don't Go to Sleep is a good one. Don't Go to Sleep is basically about his boy who's a middle child, or I think he's the youngest. And he wants to get a bigger room in the attic, and he's tired of being treated like a little kid. So he does. So he says reality sucks, and then goes to bed, and then he gets in these series of dreams. He's hunted down by the reality police, which are like people that can deal with any infractions on reality, like people like bad mouthing or something, and it's taught to enjoy the reality of being a younger kid and how horrible being an adult can actually be. And it was actually a good episode. I actually really liked it a lot. And that's basically my favorites. I have other ones, but I don't have enough time in this video to do it. So, thank you all. and goodbye.